Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the electromagnet and the fixed magnet inside of the case, and we'll be putting them together with a piece of paper that will act as our diaphragm. So for the first step, we need to figure out exactly how high to cut off the straw on the electromagnet. To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the piece of paper, put it across the top, and with a Sharpie ready, I'm going to put the magnet, the electromagnet, into the cup until it is lined up with the fixed magnet exactly in the middle of the electromagnet. So for us, that puts us right there, which is almost exactly the same height as the tip of the electromagnet. So I'm going to double check that. And yeah, that's pretty good. So now that we know the height that we're going to be going to, I'm going to go ahead and just extend that circle all the way around, keeping it even the whole way. And by pre-drawing this, I can correct it if I do a bad job of drawing. So I'm marking the height, that even height, all the way around. And if I don't line up when I get back to the start, if I don't line up with where I started, then I know I didn't keep it even. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut off the other side, not the side that I marked, but the other side, just a little bit beyond the electromagnet. Just like that. Now, when you cut it, it might become not round, and so you want to reshape it to be as round as possible because you need it to easily go over the electromagnet. So if it's not round, you need to reshape it and get it to where it easily goes across the fixed magnet. Then you're going to cut this side, leaving yourself about an extra half centimeter to 3/4 of a centimeter beyond your line. So I'm going to cut it off about half a centimeter beyond. Once again, make sure everything is staying as round as you can keep it. Make sure it goes easily over the electromagnet. This one has a spot where it's a little bit tight, so I'm going to try to reshape it till it easily moves up and down. And then we're going to cut little notches in the electromagnet down to the line that we marked. You're going to do that all the way around. And these you'll be able to fan out and use them to attach it to your diaphragm. Once you've gone all the way around, you can just go ahead and fan those out. And if you've done a good enough job, it will give you a nice flat layer to put down on the piece of paper that will become your diaphragm. Now this, giving yourself plenty of room, you're going to glue the electromagnet into the piece of paper. You want to make sure you're leaving enough room that it will the full size of the case will easily fit and still be inside the paper. So we're going to put a little ring of hot melt glue on the paper. And you want to minimize how much you're using. And then push the magnet down onto that ring. And while you do want to minimize how much you're using, you need to make sure of a couple of things. One, that this is on tight, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more hot melt glue. And two, that you're keeping it perfectly vertical. You want it straight up and down. Now, you'll get lots of little pieces of hot melt glue sticking out and little strings of it. You want to remove as much of that as you can until you have something that looks just like this. Now you're going to be fixing this onto the fixed magnet. So making sure everything is still as round as possible. And you can even use the Sharpie to kind of squeeze it into there to make it as round as you can get it. You're going to set that over the fixed magnet. And once you've done that, you should have something that looks like this. Now, with your holding the corners, you're going to just find the edge of the case, just make a marking. This does not have to be perfect, but the better you do, the more round everything will appear. Now we're going to cut out that circle, and we're actually going to cut it out slightly inside of the circle. So you're going to find, if you want to, you can find something that's got a little bit of a smaller diameter and use that to cut it out. I'm actually just going to eyeball it because it does not have to be super exact. You do want to keep it fairly round, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And so I'm just going to cut at a slightly smaller diameter, cut out a circle. Whatever you do, make sure you do not cut the wires that are sticking out. Now we have a circle that's a slightly smaller diameter than the case. With the wires hanging out the edge, you're just going to set that onto the case, and then we're going to be just taping with a few little pieces of tape this so that it sits loosely on the top. So for that, I'm going to make sure that the wires are coming out in a way that's not getting in anyone's way. Take pieces of tape, and I actually like to use smaller pieces of tape than that, so I will cut this into about 1/3. And then just go ahead and put that leaning with some sticking out onto the diaphragm. And I'll go ahead and do that for a few more pieces around the outside. The exact number is not super important, but you want to have at least 4. I'm going to probably end up doing about 6. And now we have a diaphragm with tape sticking out with the sticky side down. So we'll go ahead and put that over the top of the fixed magnet and case, and then just attach the tape, fold it down onto the case. And that is your speaker. The only thing left is to remove a little bit of enamel on the outside of the wire, these two wires towards the end, and connect them into your amplifier and into an audio source so that you can hear what it sounds like. And we'll be doing that in the next video.